Shalom Akim. About to get started in just a bit. Let me go ahead and just see if I got enough power in the tablet to post this on the other channels. If not, we'll get started. App got stuck on a updating, so whatever. Somebody's meant to see this, they'll see this. So let's go ahead and get started and give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahshai, Bashem Hakodash, Bracket the Yahweh, Bracket the Yahshai, Bracket the Yahweh, Bracket the Yahshai, Bracket the Yahweh, Bracket the Yahshai, Bahashem Hakodash. God honors my teachers, the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, with the house of David reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as and still are the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. So in today's lesson, we're going to go ahead and talk about sounding the trumpet or blowing the trumpet before it is silenced. And I'm talking about all the recent things that are coming down the pipeline, how the anti-Semitic law just passed Congress and it's on its way to Senate to be signed into law, and then after that into the president to sign it into law. Now, this more likely is going to pass just because, again, these devils that are that rule this world, which are known biblically as the Edomites, who we know today as the so-called, the small hatters, right? The people who live over in the land of Israel today. They've now came to the point where they're being persecuted enough, and people are starting to speak out against them to call them out on how they are not the chosen people, how they're Khazarian converts, also how they basically run and control Babylon the Great, which is the biblical name for America. Well, all this is starting to come out to the forefront of society, and these Amalekites, unable to stop it with their media control. Now they're simply just going to try to outlaw it altogether, showing you that these Edomites, that they're scared of this truth coming out, and this is ultimately the real truth that they're trying to stop from coming out. They don't really care about them being bullied online or showing all the atrocities they're doing, but what they're really worried about is the truth of the Bible coming out about who the true Israelites are and who the true Jews are. Hey, Shalom Akim, water for joining. So that being said, let's go and get started, and let's go ahead and read this first scripture. This is Joel 2 and 1. We're going to read down to verse 11. This is Joel 2 and 1. Blow ye the trumpets in Zion, and sound it an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh, Bashem Yahshai, cometh. For it is nigh at hand. And when you look at everything that's going on around the world right now, right, it's you can easily see that we are living in the end days. And and you always hear a lot of unbelievers say, oh, they've been talking about that for years. They've been saying that for hundreds of years. Well, that's true. But the thing is a lot of people don't even understand what the Bible's talking about. They don't understand what prophecies to look for. Well, we can tell you that the prophecies that said that would come to pass in the end days, that being that there would be a great awakening of the people, those people being the Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Americans. And we've been seeing since the 60s, even in the 50s, that our people have been saying or claiming, there's been a resurgence of our people claiming to be the biblical Israelites, right? And when you get into it, it may sound outlandish at first, but when you get into the historic records, the testimonies, right? And more importantly, the prophecies of what the Bible tells us what to look for and who these people would be and how to identify them, we can clearly tell that those today would be the Negro, Latino, Native Americans who have gone throughout their history with a collective narrative, right? They all been conquered, went into a form of captivity, and even today they're in a veiled form of captivity, okay? Because what a lot of Americans and a lot of you Israelites have been finding out with all these anti-Semitic laws and all these different laws that are coming into action, And also, even with the economy collapsing the way it is and the prices going up, you're starting to find out that this isn't paradise. That this, in fact, is an open air prison, and you're one of the residents. Okay, you're starting to hear about more of these. I guess you call American patriots, right? Edomites, or people who are just down for the system here in America, right? Seeing how their system has been taken over, and now they're even coming out talking about how the U.S. government has been taken over ever since they took out JFK, right? And they're trying to find out that they did this and they did that. They're finding out who they are. Amalek, the small hatters over there in the land of Israel. Okay, and hence why they're going to pass this law, right, which is going to make all forms of anti-Semitism illegal, or at least they're going to try to make it illegal at the federal level, which, by the way, is the same things they did over in Russia. I believe they did it in China too, and in other countries, and they even did it over in Germany to try, before the whole Nazi situation and the Holocaust situation happened. But the point being is that the same things that took place in these other countries that were systematically conquered is what's happening here in America, but it's happening in a longer time frame and a lot slower pace. You can tell where instead of them coming in and just decapitating the power structure and setting it up, what they've done ever since JFK, they've slowly started to gain more and more power. And now this is why America is, for the most part, a zombie with a brain virus attached to it, going around and conquering the world at the behest of those small hatters. And why is that? Well, because those small hatters over there, they're the top tribe of the nation of Edom. Okay, and this is why they're able to rule over all the other Edomite empires, Britain, Australia, Canada, and so forth. It's because, again, this is all the will that the Lord put out for these Edomites, for them to go forward and conquer the world in deception and have the world upside down morally. So he can do what? So that way, when the Lord comes back, he can destroy them for the wickedness. Okay? So let's continue. It says, verse 2. Oh, and what it says here, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, it's talking not about the land of Zion. What it's talking about is the elect of the people of Israel, okay? The people the 1/3 of Israel, the one out of every 3 Negro, Latino, Native Americans who are going to hear this truth, wake up to it, and return to the Lord and return to the original ways, and who the Lord will select to reestablish, the nation of Israel, and then hence bring back all the other 2/3 that didn't make it in this go around. This is Zion, right? The monument of the Lord. Okay, that's what Zion goes back to Zion, which is monument. Okay, so because again, remember, we're supposed to be the example to all these other nations, from the Lord. Okay, so continuing, verse 2. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong, there hath never been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. Now, what is this talking about? This is talking about the nuclear explosions. They're going to come and destroy America and all the westernized NATO powers. Okay, and not only that, but they're also, nuclear weapons are also going to explode in other places around the world, because what we're going to go into, according to the Bible, is a World War III scenario, which will get to the nuclear armament. Okay, there's not going to be a simmering down or a cool off periods. No, what we're seeing now around the world, with all these nations rising up against each other, with all these people rising up against Amalek over the land of Israel. The Saudi Arabia came out saying that they're now standing with the Palestinian people, whatever the fuck's left of them, right? You're starting to see a division between all the nations of the world, and this year is going to lead all to Armageddon. And we can already see it now. You're starting to see military equipment being shipped over there to the land of Israel, around over there. right? Some of it's going to Ukraine, some of it's going to Syria, some of it's going to Saudi Arabia, right? Some of it's going to Egypt, but ultimately it's all going to end up there in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, which is basically the land of Israel. Okay, and why is that? Well, because when World War III, kicks off, and the mark of the beast has been implemented, because again, remember, we are days away from them collapsing the dollar, be it a week, be it 365 days from now. We're going to see the collapse of this dollar system. You already have financial analysts already saying that the dollar is done for, that no longer is it going to be able to be rescued. Nigeria, I believe, just came out with their official gold currency. It's like a gold coin that they're going to start using for their currency. And when that happens, you're going to start seeing a lot more people start to gravitate more towards the BRICS nations and their economies, because not only that, maybe even just their paying system, right? They're gonna come up with a SWIFT alternative. I think they already have it set up already. I forgot what its name is, but there's gonna be a SWIFT alternative. A SWIFT being that banking institution that facilitates international trade or commerce. Well, right now, Edom controls that, and hence they are able to kick off whoever they don't want or they don't like off of that system, and hence cut them off from the international markets. Well, what's going to happen is it's eventually going to start, this economy, this world economy is going to eventually start to go towards Russia, and that's going to be a big threat for Edom's westernized New World Order economy. And when that happens, you're going to see a large implosion of what we know today as the U.S. market and the dollar system, and it's going to just collapse. And then they're going to bring out a new digital currency, a digital CBDC, which is going to now then be the norm. And if you want to get a preview of what this looks like, just go right now to look up Chinese payment systems, Indian payment systems, and I believe it's Malaysian or Malaysian or Thailand payment system. Everybody over there is paying with WeChat or PayPal or some sort of digital currency where you scan a QR code, and then you basically transfer you transfer money either to or from the person for the item that you're buying. See that right there? Oh, and all those records, everything that gets done is all recorded by the centralized government system, which is, again, this is where we are headed to. Okay, so when that is implemented here in America and in the Western NATO countries, and all the armies are gathered there in the Middle East, you're gonna see the Lord return. Okay, and when the Lord returns, He's gonna destroy all these nations that he gathered there around the valley of Jehoshaphat in the land of Israel. And it looks like there's just tons of traffic. Well, there was a little while ago, but it's because of this thing back here. Looks like there's a local carnival going on right now, and they do this every year, or every couple of months, I'm guessing. But the point being is that there's a lot of people, trying to go about their lives right now as if nothing's going on, right? And what else can these people do, man? They've been so disconnected from the reality of things that just your average weekend, right, trying to escape from it, from this, prison cell that we've all been born into, is all that we can do. Some people, come out of the system, and wake up and try to warn other people. Other people just, come out of it altogether and don't even participate in the system. But, that's a whole other lesson. Let's get back to this. It says, so this right here, like I was saying, about how before them is the Garden of Eden and behind them is desolation. That's talking about these nuclear missiles. When they hit a location, just look at the pictures of Nagasaki and over in Japan after World War II. What happened before and after pictures? You'll see how that place was a desolation when that took place. So let's continue. Verse 4. The appearance of them is as the appearances of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the top of mountains shall they leap. Like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. So what Joel was seeing here is over the you can't really see it today, but over the mountain tops, he was seeing images of what looked like, we call them today contrails or chemtrails, right? Coming over those mountains, and they were basically all in a line. And what those were, it was like when you're on a mountain, you're looking down in a valley, and you see a whole army of men, all basically charging their horses down, and you see like little lines, them, galloping or racing right next to each other. That's what Joel see over the mountaintops, right? And those things leaping over the mountaintops are basically the nuclear missiles just coming over the mountains, right? And we know what that is. Those were the ICBM nuclear missiles coming to destroy Babylon the Great and all those other NATO countries, right? But namely here in Babylon the Great, because America, Babylon the Great, is going to be that lake of fire that John the Revelator seen burning up from space. So, and it says, verse 6, before their face the people shall be much pained, all faces shall gather blackness. Meaning that people, when they see this, you're going to be screaming, crying, putting their little babies into like sewer systems like they did over in Hawaii, trying to escape the coming destruction, which everybody knows you can't escape from the destruction of a nuclear missile unless you're far away from it. Okay, so that's what that means. It says, verse 7, they shall run like mighty men. They shall climb at the wall like mighty men of war. They shall march every one on his way, and they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. So again, this is just Joel seeing this destruction of Babylon the Great, and he's seeing these missiles just constantly hitting and destroying the places that they're landing here in America. And he'd seen that they couldn't be taken down. He's seen that nobody could stop them, right? He's seen that even if they did hit each other, they still caused a massive devastation. Hence, they fulfilled their work. So again, this is the future. This is the warning that starting with the apostles on down, that we're here warning you Israelites, you Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and anybody whose father's lineage goes back to that bloodline, to wake up, to find out to wake up and realize what's going on, and realize that we're now in the end days, and you got to repent, you got to come back to the Lord so that way he can protect you. Because again, the only thing that's going to protect you from the events of the coming near future is to have a spiritual protection upon yourself, right? Because yes, you could gather up food, you could gather up, go up to a cabin in the woods and have everything you need. But if the Lord's not on your side, he's going to make sure you trip on a stump, a bear comes and visits you, or that food is going to go rotten. The point being is that you're going to need a spiritual hedge around you, and this is how you do it, by coming back and obeying the law and doing that. Or I'm saying, when I say obeying the law, I mean obeying what the Bible says, as far as coming back and repenting and doing the observing the law, regardless if we have grace or not. Because remember, by us keeping the laws, even though we don't have to, that is a way for us to show the Lord that we love him and that we're serving him. And when we serve him, what does he say? Right? He's going to save them who serve him. Okay? Continuing, it says, verse 9, then they shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up and upon the houses, and they shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quiet before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. So again, what Joel's here seeing is he's seeing that spread of the fire going up buildings, over into the windows of houses, over mountains, everywhere. He's just seeing it just spread and just consuming all the people of Babylon the Great, the people who didn't wake up and realize that we were in the time, and ultimately had to pay for the unbelief by giving their life as sacrifice. So that's where we're at right now, and that's ultimately why we're out here warning our people, sounding this trumpet, letting them know that we're living in the end days, Satan's starting to show himself, and now is the time to return back to the Lord, right? So let me put this away. So how is it that we know that we're now in the end days if people have been saying this for hundreds of years, right? Because again, we always hear that. Oh, people have been saying that for the longest, right? Well, it tells us here, this is Matthew 24 and 3. It says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, this is talking about Yahweh Shai when he was speaking to the multitude there on the Mount of Olives, right? They call it the Olivet Discourse, which really just he's speaking in a garden, an olive garden, okay? And then it says, and as, verse 3, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the signs of the coming and of the end of the world? And Yahweh Shai answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right? And that's ultimately what was just some of the hints that the Lord gave of what the end times would be at. Right? We're going to go into another couple of these prophecies to give you an idea. But remember, the Lord said that there would be earthquakes in diverse places, that there would be pillars of smokes, volcanoes, and we can see that there's been many volcanoes erupting in these last couple of years. Right? We're seeing signs in the skies. Right? Solar eclipses, lunar eclipses that haven't happened for decades. Right? You're having comets. Right? The devil comet explained itself after a 70-year hiatus, right? See, there's so many signs going on. You have the nation of Edom, which is the nation of Edom, with these Edomites now going out and trying to fully conquer the land of Israel, like it tells you they would in Ezekiel 36 and 5. How with all the glee and malice in their hearts, they appointed the Lord's land into their own hands, right? Roughly paraphrasing. You have the Great Awakening, right? The Israelites are starting to stand upon their feet, right? You're starting to see celebrities even come out now and say that they're Hebrew Israelites, right? But again, this and then and besides that, you have a push for a digital mark, right? You have the marketing campaigns and the commercials showing how Neuralink, Verichip, and all these other biometric tracking companies are coming out with products which will facilitate and fulfill the future prophecy of the mark of the beast, right? You're also seeing how these devils are talking about setting up a one world order system, legal, religious, economic, right? And even militaristic, right? Hence why they're trying to get rid of these other nations. So the signs are there, Akim. And the thing is if you understand what's going on with who the 18 nations in the world are, you'll see that the Lord right now is currently taking the current status quo of the Edomite Empire. He's taking it, he's dismantling it. So even though they have a plan to destroy their own system or implode it, and hence from the ashes build up a new system, you can see that a lot of that isn't going to their plans. You got some of their how would I call them? Their leaders, right? Jacob Rothschild, David Rockefeller. You had Queen Elizabeth. You had her husband, Philip, right? A lot of these elites have passed on. Harry Kissinger, right? Though this is a multi-level or multi-generational plan, the fact that these devils leaders have passed on shows us that their plans are being, should I say, tested, right? Tested and tried to see if it could withstand it, right? But the thing is that we're gonna see. You have a lot of people. I think it was the king of Malaysia, because of his niece. She died from the C-19 jabs. That he came out and basically said, he called them out for being wicked. And also you got Japan out there with its medical doctors coming out talking about how the C-19 was a bio weapon, along with I believe even the Attorney General of Florida even came out to admit that, right? So people are starting to see that this was all a scam, and in doing so, and there's a dog that's about to get ran over here. Check this out. Well, you can't really see it. He's over there. He's like a neighborhood dog. He has a collar. It's a boy, but he's probably just wandering the neighborhood and shit. Almost got ran over by a big ass truck. But yeah, either way, Akim, so there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and again, a lot of it ties to a lot of the world events now are tied to biblical prophecy that would foretell the ending of this current society. Now, so like I said again, it's what we're seeing is these devils, they're being backed into a corner. Okay, and this is why they're bringing out this anti-Semitic law, right? Because again, they're trying to stop the world from finding out who they really are, Amalek, and on top, the top tribe of Edom, making them Edomites. Because when that finds out, then a lot of people are going to start turning on them, and you're already starting to see now the American Edomites turning upon those Israelis. Why? Because now they're realizing that they're behind the JFK, they're behind the Nixon ousting, right? They're behind a lot of things. The whole 9/11, right? The wars. Got a lot of action today, man. The spirits are roused up. Crazy. But yeah, man. See, the thing is the signs are there, like the Messiah said, man. Right? Can we tell when summer's coming and spring's coming, when things are about to come out, but we can't, tell the spiritual signs? No, we could. We can. Because why? Because we've been taught. You can feel it in our spirit, right? And the thing is it's very evident that we are in the end days. But again, you can see what's going on the left-hand side. You can see these devils are running into issues, right? You see that now. You even got climate scientists that used to come out and push the whole climate narrative hoax. Now they're coming out and admitting that it's not as dire as it was. Okay, and there's a lot of other crazy things. You got doctors coming out talking about the C-19 was orchestrated and all this stuff. But again, I don't want to digress, and I want to be careful what I say. But let's get back to the lesson, Akim. So let's go and read this Daniel's 12 and 10, because one thing I constantly keep hearing about, let's say for example the C-19 thing, is that people say that it was an IQ test, right? And it's true, because again, if you were going to all of a sudden take a miracle, medicine that was all of a sudden developed under a year, right? If you think that's safe, then how smart can you be, right? What does the Bible say? Who will pity a charmer that is bitten by a beast, or who will pity a charmer bitten by a snake when they come near wild beasts? Paraphrasing on that, right? See, the thing is the people who had understanding and were wise, they understood what was going on, and that right there is what I want to read next, because just like the people who were aware of what was going on had a bit of understanding of what the true narrative of the world is, they were able to call out these devils for their lives, and they understood it. And that's the same thing that you'll be able to do as an Israelite, is if you're woken up, if the Lord has opened up your eyes to what's going on, right? This is what's, and that, in regards to seeing all the spiritual signs, seeing all these things going on. This is Daniel's 12 and 10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. So all these signs, all these volcanoes, these uprisings of these people, the riots, and I'm not talking about the fake riots going on in these universities, but I'm talking about the real riots going on around the world, trying to oust their governments and going against just the corrupted politicians in the world, right? See, this is the uprising that the Bible's speaking of, okay? And these are just some more signs that the Lord told us to look out for in these end times. The Lord also told us to look out for Israelites or his prophets coming out and preaching in the streets, not in these churches. Because again, these churches were set up by the government to mislead you and lead you towards the lie. This is why they'll read you one or two scriptures, but then they'll go out for an hour or two, and then at the end they'll pass around the collection plate, because they're not there to teach you the Bible. They're there to make you feel good, to entertain you. Where, like, starting with the apostles on down to Akim like me, we're out here and we're reading you these scriptures and we're explaining to you what these prophecies mean. Okay? So next, like Daniel said here, right, that in the end times knowledge would be increased, and that's what's going on now, right? And what's happening is, like he said, the wise would see it and would understand. Understand what? Well, understand that we are now living in the end times. And what does that mean? That means that for those who want to have that spiritual hedge around them, that salvation that everybody says they want, they got to come back and understand the truth. And what is that truth? That one that, what God's true name is and what the Messiah's true name is. That is the most important thing. And then second, being that salvation is only for the Israelites, and finding out who those Israelites are. We know today predominantly those would be the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and also that anybody whose father's lineage goes back to that bloodline. Because again, the seed of Israel was scattered into all nations. Okay, and according to Romans 8:11, right? The Spirit bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. So again, if your father's lineage goes back to one of the nations that the Israelites were known to inhabit, right? Which for the most part is almost everyone. Chances are you may be an Israelite if you find that this truth is not offensive to you, but you actually understand it and you can get it. That means that the Lord is dealing with you, and the Lord has actually opened up your eyes and your ears to hear and see this truth, and for you to start understanding what the actual true narrative of the world is. Because remember, the true narrative of the world is not just hidden in history books, it's hidden by magic and by witchcraft. Okay, there's enchantments upon the world to make us not see what we're not meant to see. The television, even your phone, and all these things, that's all a highly refined modern day version of witchcraft, okay? From pharmaceuticals and all that type of stuff. These are things that these devils, these Edomites, and when I say these Edomites, I'm talking about the so-called Caucasian race, right? This is a system that they have put into power, right? Especially Amalek, right? Amalek has always been very strong in his enchantments to put out, to try to deceive the masses. And it even tells us in Revelations, I think it's Revelations 18, that this nation is going to go out and deceive all the nations of the world, right? And that eventually everybody's going to realize, what's taking place, right? They're going to say, is this the man that did shake kingdoms? See, that's what's going to eventually happen. But we're not there yet. We're going to get there, but not yet. We still got to go, like the Messiah said. We're going to hear about wars and rumors of wars, but the end is not yet. But all these things must come to pass. And why is that? Well, because you see, the Lord, he has to stir things up. He has to move the chess pieces into position. And just like a movie or a play, things have to play out in their certain order, so that way the entire movie, the entire play can go right. Okay, you can't just have the hero all of a sudden come in, halfway through the show, and beat up the actor who nobody yet knows is the bad guy. Okay, and that's ultimately is kind of like what happened with Yahweh Shai when he came on the scene, right? And he was crucified, right? The thing is you had the Edomites on the scene then, but nobody knew that they were eventually going to take over the world and become this big monolithic power system that nobody could take out, and that you'd ultimately would need the Lord to come and remove, right? So again, they were the wicked, or they were referred to as the wicked, right? Because nobody really knew who this end times nation that would own and run this great city, Babylon, and have the whole world in subjection. Nobody really understood who that was going to be yet, right? We had to wait until we lived through it, and then we could go back to the prophecies and read what the prophecies say, about what we could look for, not only to identify the Israelites, but also to identify the devils of the Bible, right? The Antichrist. And again, it's fairly clear that the Antichrist are these Edomites, right? And namely, and primarily speaking with those Amalekites, which are the top tribe of Edom over there in the land of Israel today. So that being said, let's go ahead and get this. This is Matthew's 24 and 29. This is it says, immediately after the tribulations of those days, right? Because again, remember, now we're starting to go into the time of trouble, right? Remember, the apostle Tahar coined this year the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble, right? And what is Jacob's trouble? Jacob's trouble is explained in Jeremiah 30 and 7, and it talks about how this is going to be a time like never before, a time of great tribulation. So Jacob is another name for us Israelites. So, well, you know, knowing this, and then also knowing about current events and seeing how everything is starting to mount up, and seeing how the temperature of the people are starting to raise, we're seeing, you know, it's very easy to deduce that what's going to come is going to be mass revolts and mass killing off of people, okay? And it might get like it is over there in Palestinians, where you got these Amalekites just going apeshit and trying to get that land before it's too late, right? But that may happen over here in America. And why is that? Well, because look, what's happening now, like I said, the American Edomites are seeing that that Amalek, those Israelis, have for the most part stolen their government. Do you think that they're not going to stand up and basically rise up against the nations? You got to be very ignorant to not realize, you know, what we're about to get into. Okay, well, that right there is referred to in the Bible as Jacob's trouble. So, and that right there is talking about the tribulation that will happen immediately after. So it says, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from the heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. And then see, so right there, so you're seeing all the destruction, all the race wars, the general wars, the uprising, the sedition of the people, right? The whole world is going to be in a state of fire, right? Not literal fire, but just burning up, like with people rioting, wars going on. It's going to be a horrible place. But it tells you here, right? It says, verse 30, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, right? Because why? Because the whole world is going to see the Messiah's huge, what we refer to as UFO in the sky. It's going to be so large that ultimately what's going to happen is that the people of the world are going to see that we aren't alone, right? And a lot of people are going to realize that it's the Messiah coming back. And it says, and all the tribes of the earth shall mourn. And what are those tribes? Those are the 18 nations that are upon the face of the earth today, right? The Negro, Latino, Native Americans, we make up one of the nations, that nation being the nation of Israel. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven. And what are those clouds of heaven? That would be what you refer to as UFOs, or what the government now is trying to call UAPs, because they're coming out so prevalently now that they can't hide them. So now they have to come out and try to explain what they are, so that way the people don't lose their minds. Okay? And it says, coming cloud in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. And these elect that the Lord is going to gather with the UFOs, this is going to be at the very end, right when the nuclear missiles are about to hit. Probably nuclear missiles are already going to start hitting around the world, right? But what's going to happen is these chariots are going to go around the world to the four corners of the earth, right, which is basically everywhere, and they're going to gather up the elect. And who are the elect? The elect are the 144,000, which are going to be like the prophets, the teachers, right, the leaders of this truth of ours, right? The Lord woke up and who are out here teaching our people what to do, giving instruction, plus the 1 out of every 3 Negro, Latino, Native Americans that have heard this truth, woken up, and have come back to the truth. And again, so 1 out of 3 Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and anybody whose father's lineage goes back to that bloodline, because you're going to see so-called Chinese, so-called white people, so-called African people, so-called Armenian, Egyptian, Arab people that all look like other nations, but they're going to be taken up into the sky too. And why is that? Well, that's because their father's lineage goes back to an Israelite, and those people, they heard this truth, they resonated with it, and they called upon the Lord's true name. Okay, that's what's going to be going on with those people. So continuing, it says, says, verse 31, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the 4 winds, from one end of the earth, or one end of the heaven to the other. So there you go. See, so that right there is talking about how the Messiah himself said that this is how the Lord's going to gather up the Israelites, right? He's going to do it by the chariots, right? The so-called UFOs. And what does this mean? Well, that means that people are going to see this, and people are going to see people getting abducted, and this is going to be a crazy sight to see. That let's actually read this real quick. Wisdom of Solomon, because Wisdom of Solomon talks about this, right? It talks about the abduction, or what the church has talked or misled the people into what it calls the rapture. Because again, there's only going to be one rapture. See, the church tries to say that there's going to be a rapture before the tribulation, and then 7 years later, then the Lord's going to return and pick up everybody who's managed to change their mind and seek the Lord. No, that shit ain't going to happen. The Lord's only going to come one time, and that's it. And that one time is talking about is this right here, right? This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 3. And they, repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves. So meaning all these people who weren't saved, that ends up seeing all the elect and all the people who did hear this message, did get right, and did do the simple things that they got to do to get in that right state of mind, right? To learn the Lord's name, to try their best not to do wickedness, to follow these laws to the best of their ability, which isn't even that hard. That just means you got to stop eating pork, shrimp, right? Stop having sex on certain days, right? The Sabbath. You got to observe the Sabbath in its proper order, which means it's rotating schedule according to the moon, right? And keep the laws as the best of your ability. See, this is all the Lord asks for, right? And to learn your heritage, that of you and your family's lineage coming from the people written in the Bible, the Israelites, right? So these people who didn't manage to do that, who instead looked at people like the apostles, the other Akia, me, and basically started to scoff or didn't think that they had enough time for this, or thought it was mumbo jumbo. This is what they're going to be thinking. They're going to be thinking with anguish of soul. They're going to realize that they fucked up and that they got it wrong. And it says, they're going to say, verse 4, we fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered amongst the children of God, and his lot is amongst the saints? The saints. Okay, so Mexicans are not Hebrews. Okay, so why don't you explain to me, Mich Mexet, about when they came over here and they were speaking to us, that we even told them that we were of the tribe of Judah. I'm sorry, the tribe of Joseph and the tribe of Reuben. So you don't know shit, man. There's actually more evidence showing that Latinos are Hebrew Israelites, right? Even our language goes back to Quechua and Nahuatl, which is broken Hebrew. Fucking retard. So, so yeah. So again, if you're out here thinking that Hebrews are all black or that Hebrews are all Latino, then it's too late for you, man. You're just one of these Israelites who know they're Israelites, and your ass is gonna perish because you ain't gonna, because what you're doing is you're vexing your fellow tribesmen. Okay, remember the Lord told us that He put a division between the southern and northern kingdom, and He's gonna bring that division. He's gonna take it away. Now, if you're still there causing that division, then your ass is meant for your as Apostle Gabar says, you're grist for the mill, you're stubble for the fire. So we don't got time for that shit now, right? So continuing, verse 5, how is he numbered amongst the children of God, and his lot is amongst the saints? That's going to be that guy there, right? They're going to say, how are these Latinos being taken up and my ass is still down here? God save me. No, that's going to be that fool right there, man. Thinking that all the Israelites are going to all look like Wesley Snipes, all super black and shit, man, right? And again, this is not exactly. Thank you, Zan Maximus. This is not a black thing. This is an Israelite thing, right? Remember, the names upon the 197 nations today don't go to anything, right? A lot of them are made up, or they're based off of somebody from later on in that nation's history, right? What's going to eventually happen is we're going to start seeing that all these 197 nations all go back to 18 nations, and that those 18 nations have multiple nations all connected with each other. And those nations, one of those nations is going to be the nation of Israel, which is going to have the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and all those other nations that the males of our nation have went into, right? A perfect example would be the Filipinos. When you understand the plight of the Filipino nation, back in, I think it was like the 1800s, the Spaniards conquered the Filipinos, but because Spain was so far away from the Philippines, they put the Mexicans, which have already been subjugated to the Spaniards, they put the Mexicans over the Filipino nation. They stationed them there, and ultimately the so-called Mexicans slept and interbred with the Filipinos, and that's why a lot of Filipinos today act just like Mexicans and have Latino last names, and they're out there just loving and believing in the Lord, because again, those are Israelites. Okay, so that right there is a very quick example of how the Israelites have spread into every other nation. Yeah, man. The brother Adam Nana brings out Matthew 24:31. He shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, one end of heaven to the other. Yeah, exactly. So what are they going to do? They're just going to be going around to all the world and just basically just pick up one sort of person, all black people? No, man. They're going to be bringing out all these different nations, or what we see as looking as nations. They're going to bring what we perceive as so-called Chinese people out of the land of China. They're going to be bringing so-called Armenian out of the land of Armenia, so-called Turkish person out of the land of Turkey, right? And why is that? Because those people that are being taken out are going to be part of the nation of Israel, because their father's lineage goes back to that bloodline. And this is why, what is it? Let me read this real quick. This is Revelation 7 and 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations. Did he say all black people? Did he say all Latinos? All Indians? No. He said of all nations, right? Even Apostle Tahar says that there's going to be so-called Jewish people in that group, because again, that there's Israelites within the Ashkenazi Jews over there in the land of Israel today. It says, and of kindreds and people and tongues stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. Right? So that shows you, man, that there's going to be multiple, or there's going to be more than just black Israelites. Okay? There's going to be a whole color of Hebrew Israelites. And again, that's ultimately going to be our spirits that are going to reveal who we are. Right? So shit like that, man. That right there, that guy just revealed himself to more likely be a 2/3, because he can't get this. And why is that? I doubt he has not heard all the evidence and all, heard about all the books that give testimony, right? Or heard breakdowns about the language similarities between what the Mexicans or the Latinos were speaking to what Hebrew was, right? But the thing is that guy there has a spiritual block upon him because he's more likely not meant to be part of the elect. He's meant to only get to so far, and then that's it. Okay? So you gotta be careful we don't end up like that, man. You gotta keep your mind open up enough to get this information that we need, but not open up wide enough to where your brains fall out. Okay? That's what a lot of our people have problems with, man. They're so smart. They're a bunch of smart dummies. Okay? A good example of this would be those Kemet brothers, man, thinking that they go back to the pharaohs of Egypt and everything, not realizing that the Lord of the Bible destroyed them, right? The Egyptians, thinking that they still have some sort of relevance. Okay? So let's get back to Wisdom of Solomon, verse 6. Actually, I'm gonna start back at 4. It says, "We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor." And that's because a lot of people, when they see us, and I can tell you right now, man, I'm a normal guy, right? If you see me, I got a job, everything, got a family, life. But the thing is when we come out here and people drive by, they see this, they listen to this. If people aren't intelligent enough to listen to what's going on, and they're just driving by, a lot of this looks foolishness, right? The Lord even says in the Bible, through the foolishness of preaching shall they be saved, right? Because again, this is what the Lord wanted those prophets, those people who he's going to choose to put the Spirit on to go out and teach. He wants us to go through this level of humiliation, right? So that way, people come out here and they see us, we become a gazing stock onto to our people, right? It's because the thing is that this has to appear unimportant. See, because if we came out here with these suits and this big old procession and everything, and music, drums, and light shows, everything, and the whole government behind us, nobody would question what we had to say, man. People would be on our every word, even including all the fake people, all the people who shouldn't be getting this truth, right? And that's ultimately why the Lord did this, why he didn't want this truth to come into such prominence, which is why, like it says here, right, that that these people are fools for thinking that the people that are coming out here preaching, warning about what the Bible is actually talking about, they thought they were being foolish, right? We fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered amongst the children of God, and his lot is amongst the saints? Saint is short for sanctified, meaning the selected, right? The elect. It says, therefore have we erred from the way of truth, right? Because a lot of these people who have been misled and they don't understand what's going on, they've come against this truth, they've been misled. And who have they been misled by? By the God of this world, right? A lower G, right? And that lower G God of this world are these Edomites, the so-called Caucasian race, because again, they're the real rulers of the world. They're the ones who run the entire world, who run these banks, who have all these people in captivity, who set up these false token leaders within like government, within businesses, to try to shake off the trail that he owns everything, man. So it says, and the light of righteousness hath not shined onto us, and the sun of righteousness rose up not upon us. See, so there you go. See, so the truth is never going to hit a lot of these people, right? To the point where it's gonna prosper them, right? It tells you that there's 4 types of seeds in the Bible, or the Messiah. He made a parable about the 4 types of seeds that this truth is like, he talked about the parable of the 4 seeds, which is a parable of what will happen to people that hear this truth, that there's 4 things that will eventually happen, right? And let's see if I could get it real quick. Give me a moment off him. One of my favorite parables. because it helps to show you that this truth is not for everybody. See, because these false churches, they try to make it seem that this truth and the Bible is for everybody, and that you come as a sinner and you don't got to change. What is it? I think they're going to allow homosexual priests in the Christian church. So I just gotta find it. This wind does not help. Here it goes. And it says, I'm going to read the first part where the Lord explains the seeds, and I'm going to read the explanation of those seeds, okay? So it says, this is Matthew 13 and verse 18. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When any one heareth the word of the kingdom and understandeth not, then cometh the wicked one and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he that receiveth seed by the wayside. Right? These are the people who are just, they're too trapped in this world. They're preoccupied, or they hear this truth, they're just walking by and like they catch it real quick, right? The thing is that the wicked one, Satan of this world, he's convoluted their mind. He's distracted them with sports, with money, with family, with too many different things, to the point where these people are just, they hear this truth and they don't pay attention to it, right? Or in their heart has dwelt that feeling of, oh, that's all lies and it's all bullshit, and they go on, right? Those are the first seeds, okay? Verse 20. But he that receiveth the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it. Right? These are those people who you could tell this truth about, and they get it and they're happy about it. But a week later, they don't even talk to you about it anymore. They kind of just forget about it, and they fade back into the world. It says verse 21. Yet hath he not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word, by and by he is offended. He also, so there you go. See, but those people who get this truth, but they're not really rooted in this, or they don't have the foundation set on it. They'll hear about it, they'll be excited, but then the next conspiracy theory comes, or something else exciting happens, or this doesn't meld with the conspiracy theory that they believe in, so hence they think the Bible is wrong. So it says, yeah, Khan, I seen that. Aaron Nava asked if I had seen the video of those Filipinos marching with the black Jesus, and I've seen it. And the thing is because they understand what's going on. They understand that the Israelites were all so-called black people. I also seen the beautiful video of the brothers out there in the Philippines actually calling upon Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. Right? They're there with a chalkboard, and it's actually written out, Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Right? It's all written out, and it's like a family. It's like a man, his friends, and their family. And I even seen videos of them out in the markets over there in the Philippines actually preaching, just like we're doing, showing you that this is prophecy, man. That right there is a prophet amongst those people. And the Lord put it on his spirit to come out there and to start to, bring out that movement and start to preach the word. Now that man who was calling upon Yahweh Shai, he wasn't part of the group marching with that black Jesus idol, but that shows you, man, that Filipinos, they don't care about the whole color, skin color thing, because again, their spirits doesn't have that built-in enmity like the Edomites do, right? You tell these Edomites that Jesus was a so-called black man, they'll get all crazy. They're talking about, oh, color doesn't matter. How do you know this? Blah, 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 and this and that, right? Oh, he was olive color, all that type of shit, man. See, the thing is that's because the spirit in these Edomites is different than the spirit in those Filipinos, and that's because those Filipinos more likely are going to be Israelites, man. So it says in the Philippines they actually use the name. It's beautiful. See, kahalaya bashimashay. See that right there is a beautiful testimony. The water for sure in that Akim. So the thing is see, that shows you, man, that the truth is starting to come out, man. And the thing is that the Lord is starting to show his true names to these other nations, or what we think are other nations, but really they're Israelites of different nationalities, right? Because again, remember, we Israelites are going to come out of every nationality. So the Lord is going to giving his name to those who are going to need it, because that name is going to be what you're going to need to call out on when in that day of the Lord, when you need that salvation. Okay, because what does it say? Whosoever calleth upon the name of the Lord, the same shall be saved. Only the true Israelites are going to call upon the true name of the Lord. Everybody else is going to be saying Jesus, Yeshua, Jehovah, YHWH, and they're not going to know the name of the Lord. Okay, but the Israelites will, which is evident in that the fact that the Filipinos are calling upon Yahweh Shai. I've seen it. I haven't seen a lot of people, but I'm sure there's a bunch of movements doing it, because that brother who was teaching in that class, he started to get a lot more followers from what I was seeing. So, kahalaya bashimashay, that's happening. Right? Let's continue. Verse 22. He also that receiveth seed amongst the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. What's a good example of this? Look at ISUPK, right? They're those guys, along with IUIC, right? They know this truth. They have this word, and those people are very well versed in what the scriptures say. But what's happened to them? And they have let their love of money, of lucre, get to them to the point to where they decided that setting up a whole congregation in a corporate style, right, and selling out to Esau to not teach a certain scripture or teach a certain type of understanding is more important. To get that bag is more important than the truth. And those are the people who the Lord is describing here. Now, it also describes somebody who hears this truth, but they're too busy with college. They're too busy, getting, full-time, getting their work and making money, trying to build a little empire. That's what it's talking about. But this could easily be applied to these other wayward Hebrew Israelite camps that are teaching for money, and it's very obvious that they've sold out, like the one body, right? Which is ridiculous, man. Those guys used to be called one body in Yahweh Shai. Then they just started being called one body in Yahweh. Then they started to chop the scripture to make it almost, to basically make it almost back to Christianity. But again, that right there, those guys are perfect examples of this third seed, right? And it says, see, they've become unfruitful because of their deceit and their love of money. Verse 23, but he that receiveth seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word and understandeth, which also beareth fruit and bringeth forth some 100-fold and some 60 and some 30. And that's ultimately, Lord willing, us Akim, the Akim, we're out here, teaching, learning, sharing scriptures, being assistants to the prophets, learning, giving, right? All of us, right? See, Lord willing, we're part of the fourth seeds, okay? And the thing is that we got to be careful that we stay diligent and we stay doing this stuff, right? Especially now that these Amalekites are coming through, trying to pass this law with the anti-Semitism. Because again, remember, it's not law yet, but it's passed the Congress, and now it got to pass Senate, and then Joe Biden, who is their puppet, is going to sign it right into law. And when that happens, you're going to start seeing the famine of the law come by, and you're going to start seeing cops starting to stop people preaching on the streets, and that's more likely when we're going to start seeing the famine of the word start to manifest in the earth. And when that happens, you're not going to start seeing us coming out here on the streets. We might do what we did during the whole C-19 lockdown, where instead of being on the highways, we would go into parks or more little known areas, but where there's still people around trying to get this truth out. But again, when the apostles had put out that decree, right, to hang up our garments, it is what it is, right? The door to the ark is going to be shut just like it was shut in the days of Noah, right? Or the apostle. I don't know if you Akim have heard this or not, but the apostle Tahar has already made a announcement that we are not to antagonize these Amalekites, right? We're not to make videos on them. We're not to, if we see them on the streets, we're not to engage them, and, you know, and call them out, right? We're just to leave them alone, right? If any, because again, this truth, it really isn't for them. If you need to engage with them, be decent, you know, be cordial, and just let them know that they're the Edomites, that they're not the Israelites, that they fulfill the prophecies of the Edomites, and that ultimately that they got to answer to the Lord for what they're doing, and that's it, you know. And you know, tell them goodbye, and that's it. So again, and what that means for me is I'm no longer going to be making my comments on X on all these Amalekite posts, telling them that they're not the Israelites. But I ain't gonna do that shit no more. But same thing, we all gotta be circumspect, and there's gonna be levels to this where it's gonna eventually start to degrade the word of, or should I say degrade? It's gonna start to reduce the amount that the word of the Lord is being shared, and eventually the only thing you're gonna find online is gonna be videos from IUIC or the GOCC, things that don't matter. Right, and eventually you're not going to see the prophets out on the street. When that happens, that's when we're gonna really start seeing things fast track. You're gonna start seeing the civil disobedience and all that type of stuff. This is all news from the Middle East. Khan, I bet. Yeah, I know they always say that the Lord is from the Middle East. He's either olive color. So what? It's black or green. Which one is it? So see, people are just. They do all these gymnastic, you know, all these people do all these mental gymnastics to try to not say that the Lord was a so-called black man. But, you know, it is what it is, Akim. But that being said, let's go and get this last scripture. And then we'll call it a day. Let's see, this is Isaiah 55:6. Seek ye Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai, while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our power, for he will abundantly pardon. Right, and that's the key. It's time for us. It's time for you to wake up if you haven't woken up fully. If you've stumbled upon this video, understand that this is the truth. This is the secret that these elites that run the world want to keep from you, so that way you don't understand what's really going on. So either way, hopefully this lesson was edifying. I'll keep telling next time. Let's go and give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem Rukakwadash, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahushai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahushai, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahushai, B'Shem Rukakwadash. Shalom, Akim. Until next week, I'll see you brothers later.